in our program, particularly, that we are flying a lot of things to space. We launched the first satellite in the program in March. It's exciting to be able to work on something that actually flies to space.
Hey there, Christopher here. If you don't know by now, I'm the host and producer of the podcast Life as A, and I spend hundreds of hours every year speaking with professionals and entrepreneurs from all over the world. My mission is simple: trying to uncover tips, strategies, and most importantly, ideas, career ideas, business ideas for you so you can find your dream profession. Anyway, we've got a great episode coming your way today. We are going to be diving into the life and world of a rocket scientist, but not just any rocket scientist. Our guest today, Dr. Joni Sytsma, she heads up the entire Australian space program, a $180 million program. Yeah, she literally and figuratively decides what goes up into space out of that country. And she shared a bunch of insights in terms of what's helped her in her career, what's led to her success, and a lot more. So I'm going to be including some of those tips in this video, but I do encourage you to check out the full-length audio version after you finish this. There you can dive into a lot more. You can find that wherever you access your podcast. Just do that search for Life as a ... Oh, and one more thing, I would love that like or subscribe. I'm trying to grow this channel out, trying to do some good in the world. Really appreciate, again, your support. Anyhow, I think it's time to get rolling, so why don't we?
So I've absolutely taken this concept of failure is fine. That's what success smells like. Like it smells like failure. Um, but you got to learn and you got to institutionalize that learning. So, one of the things we did is we printed all these 20 things on a poster and we put these posters around the building. Just kind of like an institutional reminder is these things caused us to fail last time. Don't do those things. And I really believe that into the future is like, let's just take the failures and hang them on the wall.
Yeah.
So another thing we did is we occasionally let the smoke out of electronics. We actually had a wall where we hung the electronics because after we smoked them on accident, because it's just kind of like an indicator of visual failure, but it's an indicator of learn what you did, don't do that again. Each one of those circuit boards is like $1,000. So like, don't do that again.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I mean, like metaphorically speaking as well. I mean, just how valuable that is. It's like taking that concept of failure and just flipping it around for a lot of people. I mean, we say it over and over again. I think it's become sort of like a thing within culture is failure is a good thing. Failure is a good thing. But it's still a hard lesson to learn for a lot of people. But to hear somebody of certainly of your stature and your team, embracing it to that degree as well and really making it a visual point of reference for you, I think that sort of like amplifies that message, which again, it can only be helpful to people that are trying to process it.
I want to have rapid progress and I want to move towards success as quickly as possible. And my opinion is the faster you can skip across those rocks that are failure, and use those pavers on your way to get across the river. But that means you've got to be, breaking things.
Yeah.
And and it has to be moderate, right? Like you can't
Yeah.
just go around and break things constantly. But on the other hand, if you do it the other way, where it's analysis paralysis, software engineering design, never build anything, never fly anything. But if I do ever get the money to fly it, I can't fail. So everything has to be zero risk. So I believe that is totally the old way of doing it. And that's why you have NASA with the SLS, trillions of dollars on that system, only flown once, and then SpaceX, and they fly almost every day. And
Yeah.
their big rocket is going to take us to the moon and Mars. So, like for real, not NASA's rocket. NASA's rocket is, I think it's going to get canceled because they've just analysis paralysis, and SpaceX is blowing things up as regularly as the government will let them. I work for the Air Force, so I was getting in front of colonels and generals And there's a little bit of pucker factor when you get in front of those folks. You want to
Sure.
come across very well. And and of course I was rubbish at it, right? Like early days, everybody's like, so what? I don't care. Why should I fund that person? But then I learned how to play the game, which is, oh, I convinced them, so what? Funding magic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So ultimately, once I understood the connection of cause and effect, where you convince the business people the outcomes have something they want, right? But you have to do the R&D to get it.
Mm,
And then my role through my career has been negotiating the R&D to achieve those business outcomes.
yeah.
So yes, I have to understand all the tech stuff and communicate it to the business people, but I have to understand that what I'm doing is valuable too, because if there's no financial outcome, then it's basic research, and
Right.
um, our program is not a basic research, it's an applied research and
Yeah.
development program.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the reason I bring that up is I think oftentimes people put themselves in boxes, especially young people as well. Like they
Mm.
might self-recognize themselves as somebody who's like, well, I'm good technically speaking, but I'm terrible dealing with people, and
Well,
like these are skills that can be developed, and especially it does help once you can make that connection of why it's so critically important. Like your job becomes that much more exciting when you're able to communicate these ideas across and then get it, to the point of it actually becoming a thing.
one thing I'd say is your mobile phone is a computer and it's software defined, and it only does the apps that you load onto it. This is software defined too. So you are fully capable of reprogramming yourself. I reprogram myself significantly. And and look, if you've got a problem in your head, that's what cognitive behavioral therapy and some of these other kind of things are.
Yeah.
So really, the limitations are always in your head. And once you remove them, then watch out, world.
What mental frameworks or modes of thought would you employ based off of your background to kind of work with some of those things, like some of the more controversial elements of potentially being an aerospace engineer?
One thing I always ask when people have strong opinions, have strong feelings about anything is where'd that opinion come from? You know, like, is
Yeah.
that your opinion? Is it your friend's opinion? Is it your family's opinion? So, all technology that is good is dual use. The invention of bronze was great in that now I had an axe that I could chop down a tree with, or chop down an enemy's head. So like that's technology that's dual use that we are all aware of for thousands of years now. And today, where are we, right? We have AI that is just exploding, okay? And as a technology, you would say, do I want to work on AI because it's exciting and it's going somewhere? And it has the huge potential to make the world a better place. Of course, it's going to be used by defense and the military. Aerospace, it's about manufacturing things that fly real fast and sometimes they're pointy. Now, that can be used to give you telecommunications worldwide from the sky. And so you can have YouTube and TikTok and make your watch Netflix and so you would say that is completely innocuous as a technology, or it can be used to plan and negotiate a battle attack. And it's the same tool, right? It's exactly the same technology. It's telecommunications from space to Earth. Manufacturing airplanes, airplanes can be for both uses. They can take you on a holiday and they can take a bomb and drop it. And so why do you believe what you believe? First thing. Once you've identified what you believe, then you need to focus on, do I actually believe it? Because you can change what you believe. So if you find yourself appalled by what you're doing, just assess why do I believe that? And maybe I could change myself. But then the other thing is to recognize that if you work on technology and it's good technology, then it's inevitably going to be dual use. So if you want to align yourself on the civilian side, then you need to purposefully and focus your efforts on the civilian side, because inevitably somebody else is going to pick up that same piece of technology you're developing and say, well, this is great in the military. Let me use it there. And you can't get away from that. And this has happened with silicon manufacture in America. So the same chips that give us mobile phones and TikTok and Snapchat are the same chips that can be used in guided weapon systems. Um, so yeah, I think that's something hard if you're going to work in technology, that it's always going to be dual use. So you've got to accept it, do what you're doing in a way that focuses according to your morals. And then the last thing is, I don't know, it's hard to work in technology and avoid these things. So maybe don't work in technology.
Yeah, I appreciate that insight and that perspective. I think it's a critical one to have. And again, these are issues that maybe young people are grappling with. And I think the way that it was just laid out there, it makes perfect logical sense. And there are choices to be made for an individual who is interested in that, like you said. But at least I think it allows them to think this through with a certain degree of clarity. So I do hope that you found that video to be useful. And if you did like it, go check out the full-length audio version. There we dive into several more topics. Things like how she manages the rapid pace of change when it comes to technology. She also has this wonderful story that you're not going to want to miss. And she even shares her crystal ball, what the aerospace industry could look like in the future, plus a lot more. Anyway, again, you can find these episodes wherever you access your podcasts. Just do that search for Life as a ... And finally, again, would love that like or subscribe. Really trying to grow out this channel, and your support would be greatly appreciated. Anyhow, I'll have another video coming right your way, so don't miss it. Until then, we'll see ya.